Good evening, and welcome to No to Patterns Live, where we chat with community leaders, entrepreneurs, families, and passionate individuals who believe in changing the narrative. Tonight, we chat with Latonya Wallace. Latonya is a branch manager at Bangor Savings Bank in Portsmouth. She's an active on several boards like Portsmouth Public Library's Board of Trustees, a co-chair of Connect and Collaborate, a professional networking group for Greater Portsmouth Chamber Collaborative, and board member of the Black Heritage Trail, New Hampshire. Latonya has spent 20 years in banking industry, which has set the stage for who she is as a professional today. She is energetic, self-starter, and enjoys providing the ultimate customer experience. So grab your blanket, your cup of tea, and sit back and enjoy this chat as we learn more about Latonya and how she vibes in the community. Welcome, Latonya.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So glad to
So
have
excited.
you. Yes, thank you. I was saying we were talking behind the scenes how, we've been trying to connect for such, a long while now. And here we are. But then we were just thinking about, man, has it really been that long, right?
Yeah, it's been, but time gets away from you, and you get to doing things and life happens. So
Yeah.
I'm just glad we're connected today.
Yes, I am as well. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah. So for my daytime job, I do work for Bangor Savings Bank. I mentor a team of 3 there, and obviously my job there in the financial world is really just to provide that personal banking experience to individuals as they come in, but then also lend my mentorship and my kind of inspiration and motivation to my team. And any other time that I'm not banking, I am, like you said earlier, I'm kind of involved in a lot of civic activities as a new, I'm going on 2 years in Portsmouth resident. But the thing that takes up a lot of my time outside of work is Perseverance 207. So I could talk about that a little bit if that's what we can chat about. So
yeah, absolutely. We're going to get to that too. But we want to learn more about how you vibe and how you relax and how, working on or being a volunteer on these boards, how you kind of, restructure your energy and how do you keep going and stay motivated, right? So I want to know first, let's find out, what do you do to relax?
So I would say, one of my new things as of lately, you'll see behind me.
Yeah.
It's actually my plant wall.
Okay.
So actually, for years I have been, as hard as I try, I have been a killer of plants. So this has been something that as of recently, the past few months, this has really kind of just helped me just kind of zone out for a little bit. Some of the other things, if there's anything creative, where I can create or make something, I love scrapbooking. And so that takes up some of my time when I just need to kind of unwind. But then honestly, another major piece is just sleep. It's just really getting the rest that I need to just kind of recuperate after some busy days. So
now, why did you choose a plant wall if you were like, if that's something that you're not well, before you weren't good at, but right now you will be because now you have the practice. So what made you choose the plants?
So it was actually my kids.
Okay.
So
Okay.
my son, so every summer, so he goes away during the summer. And so usually we end up starting a plant that I can't keep alive when, while he's gone. So this year we just kind of went for it. And between him and myself, we've just kept to it. So yeah, it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of care,
Mm-hmm.
but you really have to focus on it. So it's something that both him and I just do together.
Mm-hmm. And I've said, well, some people know that I don't do plants either. They're beautiful. I mean, they are gorgeous, but once they cross the threshold of my door, my front door into on this side of the residence, it's kind of like a death sentence. And it's like, it's like one of those, they're so beautiful, but I don't have the time to kind of like maintain.
Yeah.
And then take the time to learn how to maintain this particular plant. You can water this one, can't water this one on Thursday, got to water this one next week. So I was just like, it's just too much. So I haven't purchased them. And I feel so bad because one of my clients, I killed their plants while they were away. And I don't know, like, I guess when I share that I don't have a green thumb, it kind of like throws the hint, like, please don't say take care of my plants, right? I thought that would be good, well enough, but I think the plants, they provide the fresh oxygen that you need. And my grandmother, she would talk to her plants.
Okay, so I don't do that.
Okay.
I can't have the conversations because I'm too busy sometimes yelling at the kids. But
Well, have you heard that before? Have you?
I have a lot of people do that. Yeah, a lot of people do that. I just am trying to keep them alive. That's the main thing right now. And when I made the purchases of the plants, I made sure that that they were easy house plants. And a friend of mine actually sent me some seedlings, which is that really big one over there. Over there?
Yeah.
I can't see. So they're doing all right, and that's just one way that I like to just kind of unwind at the night, at the end of the evening.
And that's
awesome. They're good to go.
That's awesome for you to start. So I'll check in with you in a few months to see how they're going and to see what they look like.
Please do.
Yes. So tell me, what is like one of your as you're relaxing, what is one of your best organizational tools that you use to keep you on track?
So prior to COVID, one of the things that I constantly had with me was a planner. So that was something I had I had highlighters, certain, highlighters for certain things in my planner. And then as things shifted, with last year, I actually moved into doing more with my actual phone calendar. So an electronic calendar to really just be able to block out what I need to get done. Learned how to set those reminders, so that things kind of flow as they need to. But one of the other things that I use is I used to have hour-long meetings. And one thing I stopped doing hour-long meetings. So now I have just a 45-minute meeting, because especially if I have back-to-back, because then that gives me 15 minutes after that meeting to prepare and get ready for the next one. So that's something that I have kind of worked through. But electronic calendar, that's really what I've been really using a lot lately.
I still carry my planner, my old school planner, around with me. I think mainly for notes or things like, if I'm out and about, I could just, whip open my notebook and jot it down just so that I don't forget. But as much as I did not want to depend on my electronic, calendar, and because God forbid something was to happen, it's like, oh boy, I'm just like, I don't want to depend on that. Like now I don't remember people's phone number. I just go and scroll in my phone and select the number, as opposed prior to, of course, when we were kids or back in the day, we didn't have that. We had the little phone books that, the little black books or phone books we would have, and we would whip out, and learn the numbers. It's just, I don't know. I'm still kind of hesitant. I mean, I use my electronic calendars on my phone, but I still always try to make sure I have that backup in a planner.
Yeah, I noticed the shift, because honestly, when I was out and about all the time, I had to have something to write on. So I was, like you said, taking notes, and so everything was kind of in one place for me. But as things have transitioned, I've used I do still have a little bit of paper with me to jot down notes, but for the most part, it is cell phone and book it in there right then and there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who inspires you? Who or what inspires you?
Mm. I think one thing that, oh gosh, that's a hard one. I would say that ultimately, I think that my inspiration comes simply from those who have persevered, right? So those that who, who have come from just tough times and just really survived and really made things of themselves. So I have to say that I love listening to Brene Brown. She is someone that just really, I don't know, the things that she says just really resonate with me on a professional level. But then also when you get down and dirty into, the really the things that kind of trigger our behaviors. So she does a good job at kind of pointing those things out. And sometimes I think as a person that's always going, always doing, I think to have someone that kind of makes sure that you stay grounded, whether you know them or not. I think it's important to have someone around you like that. So I'd say Brene Brown kind of does that for me.
And that's true. I do the same as well. I find myself listening to a lot of podcasts while I'm in the car, or listening to a lot of inspirational, like motivational speeches. It'll start off with I'll go to like TD Jakes. I'll listen to that. And then, I feel like I have my spiritual side there that kind of sets the day, sets the tone. And then I'll go to the motivational part where it's like, you got to go in beast mode. Well, it depends. Like on a Friday, I might listen to beast mode, right?
Right.
Or maybe on a Monday too, to kind of kick my week off. It's like, you got to go into beast mode. Like you could do it. You could do it. And, I'm driving in the car and I'm just like, yes, I can. Yes, I can. I find myself talking back to the podcast again, just talking out loud and just confirming, like, yes, this is me. Yes, I can move forward. Yes, I have been feeling that way, but this is how I'm going to feel going forward. So I can totally relate to listening to someone who is giving you those gems that you can apply to your life so that it can be better, or what steps you need to take for growth. And speaking of perseverance, tell us a little bit about Perseverance 207 and why you started it.
Sure. Yeah. So Perseverance 207 is a nonprofit I started about 2 years ago. So at that point, I lived in Maine, and I was on a conference call with my manager at the time, our regional manager at the time. And she was talking about how the bank overall, they were doing 1,000 random acts of kindness in 2 weeks. So I thought, I was like, whoa, okay. I was like, that's amazing. But they were talking about the successes of that. And so that really just got my brain going. And so I'm like, okay, I need to give back. Like I've always just had this philanthropic way about me with, I just want to help. And so I started thinking, and then later on that morning, there was a post and it was like, fill a bag with essentials and provide them to Home Insecure. So I'm like, okay. So I did some research and I was like, I'm not going to be able to help enough women. I'm not going to be able to empower enough women if I stick to just women that are going through situations where they're home insecure. So basically, from there, I established Perseverance 207. And with that, I collect gently loved purses, I call them, and I fill them with personal care essentials. So feminine products, soap, toothpaste, toothbrush, deodorant. And then each purse also has a handwritten note of encouragement for the woman that's receiving the purse. And I remember my aunt at one point when I was growing up, she had given me a wallet with money in it, which made me so happy. but there's a superstition out there where it's like you don't give a wallet or you don't give a purse without putting something in it. So each of these purses have at least a penny in them. So because otherwise it's like a bad luck type of thing. So so with Perseverance, I travel from within Maine in New Hampshire, and I deliver these purses to organizations that help women that are home insecure. They're dealing with substance use disorder. They might be survivors of domestic violence. And so it's my way of really giving back to women that are just going through, this transitional and not easy stage in their life. And I started it, because, people ask me this all the time, like if I had any personal experience, like these women I help. And what I say to that is that I've not been to the point where I've been home insecure, but I've been displaced. Right. So I've been in situations where it was not comfortable living. It was just this downtime in my life where I couldn't see the way forward. And so, that I can lend personally to Perseverance as well, because I was and live not necessarily the home insecure, but I went through things on my own where I struggled to make sure I had a home too. So.
And I think as a woman, a purse is like a statement, right? Like it's one of those things that like anytime you go somewhere, it's like, where do I put my purse? Now, I don't know if you heard this superstitious thing before, but I've heard, my grandmother always says, don't put your purse on the floor because you'll always be broke. Have you heard that before?
I have heard that.
And, I'm just like, okay, whatever, throw my purse on the floor. I'm just looking for a spot. It's just like one of those things like now that I'm just like, okay, if it's not like money's going to automatically magically appear in my wallet. I really don't carry a wallet other than my license and maybe my cards that I use, but I don't see like a benefit. Well, at least for me personally, I don't see a benefit now because I'm always on the go, in and out, in and out. But I know before I just always had a love for a purse. And again, that just complemented like my vibe and where I was going. So like if I was going to the park, I had to have a cute little, book bag or whatever. If I'm going to work, again, like I used to work in the banking industry as well. So if I would go to work, I wouldn't carry my book bag to work. I would carry this nice, cute purse that I could put, like hold right here on my forearm and just walk to work, right?
Right.
But it just made you feel good about something about having a purse because all of your personal belongings were right here next to you that is easily accessible. So I can understand that, just being guarded for these women, just having this piece or this statement piece that they can now call their own, they're now attached to, and it has their personal belongings in it. So I love that. I love that.
I mean, and you think about it, like you said, it's like sometimes our worlds, are truly held in that one little item. So it's just, it can mean, we carry our worlds in it. We, it can be that confidence boost for that outfit that you're wearing, right now. It really, it can show your personality. It does so much or so many things for so many different people. And that's why I felt like it was just the perfect thing to really just pass along, especially with women, in those situations. Sometimes, they need to quickly get out, of their situation, and they're left with maybe next to nothing. So, I just want to, it's a little token of, hey girl, like you got this.
Yeah.
And we're supporting you. So that's
now,
the way I choose to give back.
You've shared with me about like the start of Perseverance, and I've seen over the past few months how quickly it has grown in the support. Now, if you want to share, I would love for you to share like how you've grown within these past couple of months of Perseverance and how people are welcoming and being supportive of it.
Yeah. So I had a really one of the biggest things so far, Good Work is an organization that is an incubator organization. So they help nonprofits, whether it be from an idea to kind of maybe an established organization, but just really trying to level you out to see, if you want to grow, if you want to stay sustained, like what does that look like for you? And so I was elected, or I was accepted into the cohort of 2021 with Perseverance 207. And so within that cohort, I met the Alliance for Greater Good. And we just recently did a collaboration with Cabby Clothing. And so basically the three of us, the three organizations, worked together, had Cabby Clothing do virtual style shows. And then Alliance for Greater Good collected purses and items in support as well. But like all three of us working together really put a lot of visibility out there, even more so for Perseverance. And it was the first time I get to fashion. I get to try out some clothes. It was really, really fun. So from Good Work to the Alliance of Greater Good and Cabby, as of recently, so I've got 2 main drop-off locations where women or people can go and drop off any donations that they have. So I recently just acquired a New Hampshire location. So that is with Jane G in downtown Portsmouth. Yeah. So people can drop off their items there too. And I think the support behind Perseverance has just been something that I did. It's not that I didn't expect it. I just was, it's overwhelming, because there's just so many people that are really just supportive of this idea and the mission, and just supportive of me continuing to do what I do. So I'm just thankful, to be here and in New Hampshire for less than 2 years. And to as of recently really be getting the name and the word out there for Perseverance. It's catching on like fire. It's really doing really good things.
Yes, it is. And I'm so glad that you share that, because, again, it goes back to being persistent and, following your passion and knowing that this is something that you loved. It's something that, you didn't have to think 3-4 times about. It was the idea that was presented by your job, and you just took action on that. And here you are again, like you said, less than 2 years, you have this visibility, and you're in 2 states.
So 2 states, and I had a friend that delivered in Vermont, so there was a third one.
So yes, we are in 3 states, honey. Yes, 3 states, and we're growing. Okay.
Yes.
3 states and growing, and you just look at that, and it's like, I don't know. I'm just so excited for you, and just to hear about the growth. And I remember us having a conversation actually last year about Perseverance 207, and here we are. And I'm just so excited that you have this organization that's out there. Now, when we're speaking of self-care and how you're moving along in the community, do you have volunteers that help you with, packing the purses, or, going to pick up supplies, or so on and so forth?
So currently I do not. I have a few friends that are still kind of on my board. But for the most part, I do the purse packing, and actually me and my kids, my youngest, my son, he helps me pack up the purses. We have we set up the little assembly line with all of the items, knowing how many purses we need, and he'll help me. He loves to help me with that, which is a huge help.
Yeah.
But I am going to be looking for volunteers, and there's I will be looking for storage too. So that's something that for the future, for my growth, that I'll need to obtain here.
I love how our kids just jump right into our projects, and just to see, like the mom is working. I know my son, one of the basketball moms was talking to my youngest, and she's like, "I'm so proud of your mom." And he's like, "What is she in the paper again, or what is she in the newspaper again?" And I was like, "Okay, like." I'm so excited about that. And I know that they listen, that they hear, but when they participate, I think that's just so heartwarming when they're like, "Mom, do you need help?" Like, stuff in the envelopes. And when we show that, I think that's the one thing that, well, at least for me, that's one thing that keeps me going, is because I know that they're watching. I know that they're seeing what their mom does, although they probably don't care. I mean, it's kind of like, it's kind of strange. Like they care, but they're just like, I really don't care,
Right.
I care, but it's like, okay, whatever. It's not talking about NBA 2K, so I really don't care. Video game. But I think that's one thing that kind of again keeps me going, is that you just have those conversations with the kiddos and they jump right in to help, and it's like we can't stop. You can't stop because they're there. They're seeing this, and it's not like you're going to quit on this. Now you got to move forward, right?
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
the important part is to, when you think about this, it's, they get to be a part of the
Mhm.
giving process
Mhm.
too.
Yeah.
And so I think with, when you can pass that on to the next generations, I think that's the beginning of some really good things. If you can instill that giving mindset into the youth that we're bringing up, I think it's so important.
Absolutely, especially when it involves their community and where they would
Yeah.
be living and growing up. What is one thing that you've learned about yourself during quarantine?
That oh that I think I work really hard. I think quarantine forced me to do more.
Mhm.
Um, but I've learned that I need to slow down,
Mhm.
but I need to be also strategic in the decisions, the organizations, the things that I do outside of, my day job and my family. I need to really make sure that what I'm doing is fulfilling
Mhm.
me, because in the past it was always, yes, I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do that, and I was just yes, yes, yes. And now it's more or less, just really focusing, my giving, because my time is my currency, when you think about that. So
Then that's a valid and true statement. Time is currency. And I think when in the beginning, you're just wanting people to recognize you. You're wanting to get your product out there. You're wanting to get your name out there. So you're hustling and bustling. And I think you get into that pattern of hustle and bustle. And if you don't feel like you're hustling and bustling, you don't feel like you're doing anything because that's how you started off. That's how you train your body in the beginning. So now when it's time to slow down, it's like, I don't know what that means, or what does that look like? How do I take care of myself? How do
yeah.
I put myself first so that I can continue to give and continue to show up to these meetings and give 100%, be on these virtual calls and give 100%, pack the purses and give 100%.
Mhm.
So I think just transitioning again, and when you think of it in the mindset of time is currency, it helps it makes it a little bit easier to transition and learn to say no, and just stand firm on your no. But man, it's not an overnight process. I can tell
It's
you
not. It is not.
that.
No, and as much as I am better at it now, I have not been. It's been a growth process for me. So, if you are going to kind of make that shift from the yes and being involved in anything or at any and everything, just really know that it's not gonna be an overnight process. It's gonna be something that's just it's gonna flow
Yeah.
as it should. So
Mhm. And you have to give yourself some grace and be gentle with yourself when things you say, for instance, if you set Fridays. Like Fridays, I won't take any meetings, right? Friday's no meeting day. But if you happen to have a meeting that falls on a Friday, just know that this is maybe a one-time thing. Don't get in the habit of, okay, now you have 2 meetings on Friday and now your Fridays are back to that hustle and bustle mindset. So you have to be firm. Like you're firm with your nose with your client, you have to be firm with your nose with yourself.
Yes.
Well,
And look, put that time off in the
yeah.
calendar,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And stick to your personal appointments. If you
Mhm.
have anything on in your life that's going on, don't put off the eyeglass, vision appointments. So, just
Yeah.
those little things though, right? So you just have to make sure that you're paying attention to those little bits so that you can care for yourself, that you can keep moving
Mhm.
with grace and poise.
Yeah, absolutely. What is your favorite quote?
Um, it is, and I have to apologize because I don't remember the author, but it is to be who you needed when you were younger.
Mhm.
That has, I think it was about 4 years ago when I first heard that quote, and I didn't realize that that's really how I was living my life.
Mhm.
That the little bits that growing up that I felt that I missed or might have needed
Mhm.
is the way that I actually live now,
Mhm.
and then some. So um, I think it's also important when you think about that quote, you have to understand what you needed. So you have to kind of take that time to also understand who you are inside. So but that quote has just it's who I am. It's how I live. It's just being who I needed.
Mhm. I love that. And just being able to reflect back on that little girl, all the things that you wanted in life and that you're continuing to work for. You have to have to see it and visualize, continue to dream. I know that when we were younger, it's like everything was just so like organic. It was so genuine. It was so true. When you're small, you say these things that is like full of innocence, because you don't know. You don't know. You're just saying what's on your heart. You're saying who you are as part of your character. And I think when we reflect back on that, when we said, when I get older, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to become. This is who I look to be. This is how many people I want to help. When you tap back into that smaller child or that brain of yours when you were a small little girl, I think that's a motivating factor as well too,
Yeah,
because
but it all. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, and that carries, also, as hard as that struggle is, it
Mhm.
carries into raising kids too. Because it's what the good and the bad that you went through, and then it's like as much as it's easy to talk about kind of breaking cycles.
Mhm.
It's probably like the hardest thing to do because you're so used to that. So when you're thinking about the needs of, again, the kids, it's that quote it can hit a lot of points.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But it's true when you think about it. It's just like one of those things that make you sit and think, like, one of those things that make you go,
Right. Things to make you go,
right? Before we get out of here, Latonya, can you tell us where we can find you on social media?
Yeah, so I am on Facebook and I'm starting to work through Instagram. But so it would be Perseverance. You can see it on the screen, the spelling. So it's the play on words there, but Perseverance 207 on both platforms. But I also have a website, so perseverance207.org.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Latonya, for joining us this evening. And I want to thank you all for who are out there watching us tonight. Thank you for your time. To learn more about No to Patterns, or if you would like to become a sponsor, please visit notopatterns.com. We're wishing you peace, love, and community. Have a great evening and enjoy your weekend. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.